The serene quiet of the Galactic Council's border outpost was shattered by a cacophony of alarms. Sensor arrays, manned by the most advanced races in the known universe, lit up like festival decorations. Senior Analyst Zixera, a veteran Arcturian with blue tentacles and multifaceted eyes, stared in disbelief at the readings before her. "Impossible," she whispered, her voice a mix of awe and terror. Where empty space had existed moments before, a colossal ship now hung motionless against the backdrop of stars. Its sudden appearance defied every known law of physics, every rule of space travel that had governed interstellar civilization for millennia. The ship was unlike anything the Council had ever encountered. Its hull seemed to drink in light, presenting a surface so black it appeared to be a void cut into the fabric of space itself. Sleek lines hinted at an aerodynamic design, puzzling for a vessel that would never touch atmosphere. It dwarfed the largest Galactic Council ships, making them look like toys in comparison. As the initial shock wore off, the outpost erupted into frenzied activity. Zixera barked orders, her tentacles flying over holographic controls. "Deploy the quantum eye. I want every scanner we have pointed at that thing." A Volcrin technician, his crystalline body glittering with nervous energy, called out, "Senior Analyst, the quantum eye is... it's not working. The scans are simply disappearing into the hull." Zixera's eyes widened. The quantum eye was the pride of Council technology, capable of peering into the heart of stars. For it to fail was unthinkable. "Try the tachyon burst," she ordered, her voice steady despite the growing knot of fear in her core. Moments later, the Volcrin shook his head. "Nothing. It's as if the ship is absorbing every scan we throw at it." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. The mysterious vessel had appeared simultaneously on every border sensor, somehow maintaining its position relative to multiple points in space at once, another impossibility that sent theorists into a frenzy. On Galactic's Prime, the capital world of the Council, High Chancellor Oros called an emergency session. The ancient Sophan's holographic form flickered with barely contained energy as he addressed the assembled representatives. "Esteemed colleagues, we face an unprecedented situation. A vessel of unknown origin and impossible capabilities has entered our space. We must determine if this is a first contact scenario or something else." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. First contact protocols hadn't been needed in over 10,000 years. Some races present hadn't even achieved spaceflight when the last unknown species was encountered. "Chancellor," the Zithrian ambassador interrupted, her feathers ruffling with agitation. "Our preliminary analysis suggests this vessel possesses technology far beyond our own. The security implications alone." She was cut off as a junior aide burst into the chamber, protocol forgotten in the urgency of the moment. "Apologies, Excellencies. We've received a transmission from the vessel." The chamber fell silent as a holographic display materialized in the center of the room. It showed the mysterious ship, now surrounded by a fleet of Council vessels that looked painfully fragile in comparison. As they watched, a section of the black hull seemed to liquefy, forming into characters of pure light. The message it spelled out sent a collective gasp through the Council chamber. "Greetings, Galactic Council. We are the human spaceship Prometheus. We come in peace and look forward to establishing diplomatic relations. Please advise on proper docking procedures for a vessel of our size. We apologize for any inconvenience our arrival may have caused." The message cycled through every known language in the galaxy, each rendition perfect in grammar and idiom. Chancellor Oros's voice, when he finally spoke, trembled slightly. "Humans, but they were a pre-FTL species just a galactic standard year ago. How could they have?" "Analyst Zixera, your report mentioned Earth in your last survey. Explain this." On the outpost, Zixera felt the weight of the galaxy's attention fall on her. She reviewed her memories of that unremarkable blue world, trying to understand how she could have missed this. As the Council grappled with the implications, the HS Prometheus waited patiently, an enigma wrapped in impossible technology. heralding a new era that no one had seen coming. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as the HSS Prometheus hung in space, a silent titan awaiting acknowledgement. Chancellor Oros, his holographic form flickering with nervous energy, cleared his throat. "Patch me through to the human vessel," he commanded, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000 worlds. As the connection established, the chamber's central hologram shifted, revealing the bridge of the Prometheus. The assembled council members gasped. Instead of the primitive, clunky interior they had expected, they saw a sleek command center that seemed to blend technology and organic components seamlessly. At the center stood a human woman, her dark skin contrasting with a uniform that shimmered with what appeared to be living circuitry. Her eyes, unnaturally bright, scanned the council members with unnerving speed. "Greetings, Chancellor Oros and esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she said, her voice resonating in perfect galactic standard. "I am Captain Zora Chen of the HSS Prometheus. We apologize for our abrupt arrival, but we bear news of utmost importance." Before Oros could respond, alarms blared throughout the chamber. A frantic aide rushed in, their multiple appendages waving in distress. "Chancellor, the Proxima Centauri system. It's dying." The hologram split, showing a star violently pulsating, its death throes threatening to obliterate the populated worlds around it. The council erupted in panic. Proxima Centauri was home to billions and a crucial hub in galactic trade. Captain Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "We detected the stellar instability en route. With your permission, Chancellor, we can assist." Oros, faced with an impossible choice, nodded curtly. "Proceed, Captain." The view shifted back to Prometheus. Chen barked out orders in a language that defied the Council's universal translators. The massive ship shimmered, its hull seeming to ripple like water. In the Proxima Centauri system, panic gave way to awe as Prometheus materialized. The ship's size became even more apparent. It dwarfed the dying star itself. What happened next defied explanation. Tendrils of dark energy extended from Prometheus, enveloping the star. The violent pulsations slowed, then stopped altogether. The star's color shifted, returning to its healthy red dwarf hue. In a matter of minutes, Prometheus had done the impossible. It had healed a dying star. Back in the council chamber, stunned silence reigned. The Zithrian ambassador found her voice first. "How? How is this possible?" "The energy required to stabilize a star." Captain Chen's hologram reappeared, her expression serene. "A simple application of quantum foam manipulation and dark energy channeling. I believe your scientists theorized about it a few centuries ago." The casual mention of technology thought to be millennia away sent shockwaves through the council. Oros, struggling to maintain composure, addressed the human captain. "Captain Chen, on behalf of the Galactic Council, we extend our deepest gratitude for your intervention in Proxima Centauri. However, I must ask, how has humanity achieved such advancement in so short a time? Our last survey of Earth showed a species barely capable of lunar exploration." Chen's lips quirked in a small smile. "Chancellor, humanity has always been more than we appear. We chose to remain hidden, to learn and grow without external influence. But recent events have forced our hand." "What events?" Oros pressed, a sense of foreboding growing. "An ancient enemy stirs, Chancellor, one that threatens not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy. We've come to warn you and offer our assistance." The chamber erupted in questions and exclamations. Shen raised a hand, and to everyone's surprise, the council fell silent. "We understand your confusion and fear. To foster trust, we offer this: the complete schematics for a device that will triple the efficiency of your current faster-than-light drives. Consider it a gesture of goodwill." Data streamed into the council's systems, causing analysts to cry out in joy and disbelief. The technology was elegant, advanced, and immediately applicable. As the council grappled with this unexpected gift, Captain Chen's final words hung in the air. "We are not conquerors or gods, merely humans who have embraced our potential. And now, we extend our hand in friendship and alliance against the darkness that comes. The Galactic Council stood at a crossroads, facing a future suddenly full of both promise and peril, all thanks to the species they had once deemed primitive. The grand halls of the Galactic Council's central chamber, usually a cacophony of alien dialects and hovering translation drones, fell into an uneasy silence as the human delegation materialized. Their method of arrival, a shimmering field of blue energy that coalesced into solid forms, was yet another display of technology that left even the most advanced council races baffled. 5 humans stood before the assembled galactic leaders, each as diverse as Earth itself. Their leader, a tall woman with silver hair and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of centuries, stepped forward. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice carrying effortlessly through the vast chamber, "I am Dr. Amara Okafor, Earth's appointed ambassador. We come seeking alliance in the face of a threat that endangers us all." Chancellor Oros, still reeling from the events of the past few days, attempted to regain control of the situation. "Ambassador Okafor, while we appreciate your warning and unexpected assistance, the Council requires proof of these claims. We cannot upend millennia of galactic peace based on the word of a species we barely know." Dr. Okafor nodded, her expression grave. "We understand, Chancellor. Each member of our delegation is prepared to demonstrate humanity's advancements in their respective fields." She gestured to a young man with features that hinted at East Asian ancestry, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, our lead physicist. Without warning, Dr. Tanaka raised his hand. The air around him shimmered, and suddenly, a miniature star burst into existence above his palm. Gasps echoed through the chamber as alien scientists scrambled to analyze the impossible phenomenon. "A contained fusion reaction," Tanaka explained calmly, "sustained without magnetic fields or external energy input. We call it star-in-a-bottle technology." Next, a woman with deep brown skin and eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light stepped forward. "I am Dr. Aisha Mbeki, cenobiologist," she announced. To the horror and fascination of the council, her form shifted, taking on characteristics of various alien races present in the room. "Genetic manipulation and adaptation on a cellular level," she explained, her voice changing to match each form she assumed. "Crucial for surviving in diverse environments across the galaxy." The displays continued, each more astonishing than the last. A man introduced as Major Chen demonstrated weapon systems that could disintegrate targets without collateral damage. A young woman named Dr. Sofia Rodriguez showcased AI technology so advanced it was indistinguishable from organic intelligence. As the demonstrations concluded, the council chamber erupted into chaos. Accusations of trickery mingled with demands for immediate sharing of technology. Some representatives called for quarantine of the dangerously advanced humans, while others pleaded for alliance. Chancellor Oros raised his appendages for silence, his normally composed demeanor cracking under the strain. "Ambassador Okafor, while your demonstrations are impressive, they raise more questions than answers. How can we trust a species that has hidden such advancements? For all we know, you could be the threat you claim to warn us about." Dr. Okafor's expression remained calm, but a flicker of something, perhaps sadness, passed through her eyes. "Chancellor, we understand your suspicion. Humanity's path to this point has been fraught with challenges, ethical dilemmas, and sacrifices. We chose isolation to protect both ourselves and the galactic community as we grappled with our rapidly evolving capabilities." She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. "But isolation is no longer an option. The threat we face." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the chamber. A frantic aide burst in, tentacles writhing in distress. "Chancellor, we're receiving reports of an attack on the Omega Centauri cluster. Entire systems are going dark." The human delegation exchanged grim looks. Major Chen stepped forward, his voice tight with urgency. "It's begun. Chancellor, members of the Council, What you're witnessing is only the beginning. The enemy we warned you about has made its first move. Dr. Okafor's voice cut through the rising panic. We came here offering alliance, but now we offer salvation. The choice is yours, but it must be made swiftly. Will you join us in defending the galaxy, or will you let ancient prejudices and fear doom us all? As the alarms continued to wail and reports of devastation flooded in, the Galactic Council faced a decision that would alter the course of cosmic history. The humans stood ready, their impossible technology and indomitable spirit humanities offer to a universe on the brink of chaos. The Galactic Council's war room, a vast chamber filled with holographic displays and quantum computers, hummed with frantic activity. Representatives from 1,000 worlds huddled around tactical displays, their faces etched with fear and disbelief. Chancellor Oros stood at the center, his multiple eyes darting between screens showing the devastation unfolding across the Omega Centauri cluster. Entire solar systems blinked out of existence, devoured by an inexorable wave of nothing. It's as if reality itself is being unmade, muttered Exarlith, the Zithrian's feathers molting in distress. Dr. Amara Okafor and her human delegation stood slightly apart, their faces grim but composed. Major Chen's fingers danced over a holographic interface only he could see, his augmented eyes flickering with data. Chancellor, Okafor's voice cut through the chaos. We need to act now. Every moment we delay, more lives are lost. Oros turned, his exoskeleton creaking with the movement. And what would you have us do? Ambassador, our most powerful weapons are useless against this nothingness. As if to underscore his point, a new alert blared. The holographic display zoomed in on the Tau Ceti system, where a Galactic Council battle fleet engaged the encroaching void. Beams of energy and torpedoes of exotic matter disappeared into the darkness without effect. Then, in a heartbeat, the entire fleet winked out of existence. A collective gasp rippled through the war room. Tau Ceti had been home to one of the most technologically advanced civilizations in the Council. Major Chen stepped forward, his face set in grim determination. Chancellor, with respect, your weapons are based on principles of physics that this enemy has clearly transcended. But we've faced this threat before. Murmurs of disbelief and anger rippled through the assembled aliens. Exarlith's voice rose above the rest. You claim to have fought this before, yet you did nothing to warn us until now. Dr. Okafor raised a hand, her calm demeanor a stark contrast to the panic around her. We fought them in another reality, Counselor Exarlith. The enemy you face is not bound by the limits of our universe. They are void makers, consumers of realities. The room fell silent, the implications of her words sinking in. Chancellor Oros's voice trembled as he spoke. Another reality. Are you claiming that humanity has achieved interdimensional travel? Yes, Okafor confirmed. It was through these journeys that we first encountered the Voidmakers and learned of the threat they pose to all existence. Before anyone could respond, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, the physicist, stepped forward. With a gesture, he conjured a complex holographic model of intertwining realities. The Voidmakers exist in the spaces between dimensions. They feed on the energy of entire universes, leaving nothing behind. Your weapons, advanced as they are, exist only in this plane of reality. They cannot touch the Voidmakers. The Council representatives stared at the model, a mix of awe and terror on their alien faces. Chancellor Oros, his political savvy reasserting itself, asked the crucial question. And humanity can fight these beings? Major Chen nodded, his augmented eyes glowing with intensity. We've developed weapons and shields that operate on a multi-dimensional level. The HSS Prometheus isn't just a ship. It's a fortress capable of fighting in multiple realities simultaneously. As if on cue, new alerts flashed across the war room screens. The Void's advance in the Omega Centauri cluster had stopped. At the edge of the destruction, the Prometheus hung in space, tendrils of impossible energy radiating from its hull, holding the nothingness at bay. Dr. Okafor's voice was soft, but carried to every corner of the room. We held back our full capabilities, hoping to find a peaceful way to integrate with galactic society. But we always knew this day might come. Now we offer everything we have in humanity's arsenal to defend not just our universe, but all of existence. She turned to Chancellor Oros, her eyes reflecting the weight of countless worlds. The question now, Chancellor, is whether the Galactic Council is ready to set aside its fears and preconceptions to fight alongside us. Because make no mistake, this is a war for the very fabric of reality itself. The war room erupted into a cacophony of voices, fear warring with hope, suspicion battling against the undeniable need for humanity's help. As the debate raged, the screens showed the Prometheus standing firm against the encroaching void, a lone sentinel against the unmaking of everything. The fate of not just the galaxy, but of all realities, hung in the balance. The command center of the HS Prometheus thrummed with activity as holographic displays showed the unfolding battle across multiple dimensions. Captain Zura Chen stood at the helm, her cybernetic implants interfacing directly with the ship's systems. "Status report," she barked, her eyes flickering with streams of data. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka's fingers danced over quantum controls. "The Voidmakers are adapting to our multi-dimensional shields. They're probing for weaknesses in realities we haven't fortified." Across the sector, Galactic Council ships fought alongside human vessels, their advanced technology augmented by humanity's impossible science. Yet for every Voidmaker they repelled, two more seemed to take its place. Captain Chen's lips tightened. "We need to change tactics." "Dr. Mbeki, is the Nexus swarm ready?" Dr. Aisha Mbeki nodded, her form shimmering as it adapted to the multi-dimensional energies swirling around her. "Ready, Captain. But I must warn you, this is highly experimental. We've never deployed it on this scale." "We're out of options," Chen replied grimly. "Launch the swarm." From the Prometheus's hull, millions of microscopic robots poured forth, each one a marvel of nanoengineering and quantum entanglement. They swarmed towards the encroaching void, their movements choreographed by an AI that operated outside normal spacetime. Chancellor Oros, watching from a nearby council ship, gaped in astonishment. "What are those?" Major Chen, coordinating the human fleet, explained via holographic link. "We call it the Nexus Swarm. Each unit is capable of manipulating the quantum foam of reality itself. They'll reweave the fabric of space-time faster than the Voidmakers can unravel it." As the swarm engaged, the battlefield transformed. Where once there was empty void, stars rekindled. Planets reformed from cosmic dust. It was creation itself, weaponized. The Voidmakers recoiled, their entropy-based attacks faltering against this tide of concentrated genesis. But the victory was short-lived. The enemy, impossibly adaptive, began to corrupt the swarm, turning the miraculous machines into agents of destruction. "Nexus swarm compromised," Dr. Mbeki shouted, her form flickering as she fought to maintain control. "They're using our own technology against us." Captain Chen's mind raced, interfacing with the ship's predictive AI. In a moment of clarity, she saw a solution so absurd, so fundamentally human, that it just might work. "All ships, this is Captain Chen. Initiate Protocol Omega. We're going analog." Confusion rippled through both human and alien crews. Protocol Omega was considered a joke, a worst-case scenario so unlikely it was barely taken seriously in training. Major Chen's voice crackled over the comms, a hint of a smile in his tone. "You heard the captain. Shut down all quantum systems. We're going old school." Across the fleet, advanced systems winked out. Quantum computers gave way to silicon chips. Multi-dimensional shields collapsed, replaced by simple electromagnetic fields. Weapons of unimaginable power fell silent, as railguns and nuclear warheads armed themselves. The Voidmakers, expecting waves of multi-dimensional energy, found themselves facing the most primitive weapons humanity had brought to the stars. Railgun slugs, accelerated to relativistic speeds, tore through void stuff with simple, brutal physics. Nuclear detonations, their electromagnetic pulses amplified by the quantum foam, disrupted the enemy's coherence. Chancellor Oros watched in stunned silence as the human fleet, now seemingly armed with little more than advanced versions of their earliest space weapons, began to push back the unstoppable force that had consumed entire galaxies. "Impossible," he whispered. Dr. Okafor's voice came through, tinged with pride. "Not impossible, Chancellor, just improbable. Sometimes the simplest solution is the one your enemy least expects." As the battle raged on, the Voidmakers found themselves outmaneuvered not by incomprehensible technology, but by the sheer audacity of a species willing to throw away its greatest advantages and fight with the basics. Captain Chen's voice echoed across the comms, rallying both human and alien alike. "Push forward. Show them what we're made of. Not just humanity, but all of us. Today, we are all one people, fighting for our right to exist." The tide of battle turned, reality reasserting itself in the wake of humanity's desperate gambit. As stars reignited and planets reformed, the galaxy witnessed the truth behind humanity's rise. Not just their technology, but their unyielding spirit and ability to innovate in the face of certain doom. The war was far from over, but for the first time since the Voidmakers emerged, hope flickered across the cosmos. The battle raged across multiple dimensions, a cosmic dance of creation and destruction. At the heart of this celestial maelstrom, the SS Prometheus hung in space, its hull pulsing with energies beyond comprehension. Captain Zara Chen stood at the center of the bridge, her cybernetic implants glowing as she interfaced directly with the ship's eye. "Prometheus," she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "It's time. Initiate final form transformation." A deep, resonant voice echoed through the ship's corridors. "Understood, Captain. Be advised, this transformation has never been tested in combat conditions. The risk of critical failure is significant." Chen's lips curled into a grim smile. "Noted, old friend. But we're out of options. Execute." The Prometheus shuddered, its sleek hull beginning to ripple like liquid metal. Across the battlefield, both Voidmakers and Galactic Council ships paused in their combat, transfixed by the spectacle unfolding before them. Chancellor Oros, watching from the Council's flagship, gasped in awe. "By the cosmic egg, what is happening?" Dr. Okafor's hologram flickered beside him, her eyes fixed on the transforming ship. "The Prometheus is revealing its true nature, Chancellor. Watch closely. You're about to witness the pinnacle of human engineering." The Prometheus's form shifted, expanded, and reconfigured. What was once a ship now became a colossal, humanoid figure, dwarfing even the largest council vessels. Its surface shimmered with a latticework of energy, each point a star in miniature. Captain Chen's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Galactic Council, fall back to safe distances. Prometheus will engage the Voidmakers directly." As the Allied ships retreated, the towering form of Prometheus strode forward, each step distorting the fabric of space-time. The Voidmakers, sensing a worthy opponent, converged on the titanic figure. Inside the transformed ship, now the heart of this cosmic giant, Chen interfaced directly with Prometheus's systems. Her consciousness expanded, encompassing the vast network of quantum processors and multi-dimensional sensors that made up the ship's nervous system. "Prometheus," she thought, her mind merging with the ship's eye. "Let's show them what we're truly capable of." The giant raised its arm, palm outward. From it erupted a beam of concentrated reality. Not energy in the conventional sense, but the very essence of existence itself. Where it struck, Voidmakers didn't just disintegrate. They were erased from all possible timelines. The enemy retaliated, tendrils of nothingness lashing out to unmake the Prometheus. But where they touched, the ship's hull simply reconfigured, adapting in real time to counter each attack. As the battle intensified, something unexpected occurred. The Prometheus's AI, fueled by the heat of combat and its deep connection with Chen, began to evolve. It started predicting the Voidmaker's moves not just seconds, but minutes and then hours in advance. "Captain," the AI's voice resonated in Chen's mind. "I'm detecting patterns in the Voidmaker's behavior. They're not just destroyers. They're afraid." Chen's surprise rippled through their shared consciousness. Afraid? Of what? Of us. Of life itself. They consume realities not out of malice, but out of a deep-seated fear of the chaos and unpredictability of existence. This revelation struck Chen like a physical blow. In that moment of shared understanding between human and AI, a plan formed, not to destroy the Voidmakers, but to communicate with them. The Prometheus's form shifted once more, its weapons reconfiguring into vast arrays of sensors and transmission equipment. Chen/Prometheus reached out, not with weapons of destruction, but with a signal carrying the full breadth of human experience. Joy, sorrow, love, loss, and above all, the relentless drive to exist in the face of an uncaring universe. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the Voidmakers began to retreat, not in fear, but in what could only be described as contemplation. As the immediate threat receded, Shen's consciousness began to disengage from the Prometheus. But something had changed. The line between human and AI had blurred, creating something entirely new. Chancellor Oros's voice crackled over the comms, filled with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "Captain Chen, what just happened? Did we win?" Chen, her mind still reeling from the cosmic communion, replied softly, "No, Chancellor, we didn't win. We understood. And in understanding, we may have found a path to coexistence." As the transformed Prometheus stood vigil at the edge of known space, the galaxy held its breath, wondering what this new chapter in cosmic history would bring. The galactic core glimmered with the aftermath of battle, a tapestry of newborn stars and reformed planets interwoven with vast stretches of void. Scars left by the recent conflict. The HSS Prometheus, once again in its ship form, docked at the hastily constructed Unity Station, a neutral ground where representatives from across the galaxy gathered to assess the aftermath of humanity's desperate gambit. Captain Zura Chen stepped onto the station, her movements slightly unsteady. The neural connection with Prometheus had left its mark. Her eyes now shimmered with an otherworldly light, streams of data visibly coursing beneath her skin. As she entered the grand chamber, a hush fell over the assembled alien delegates. Chancellor Oros approached, his exoskeleton bearing the marks of recent combat. "Captain Chen," he began, his voice a mix of awe and apprehension, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend our deepest gratitude. Your actions have saved countless lives and preserved the very fabric of our reality." Chen nodded, her expression grave. "Thank you, Chancellor, but the cost has been significant." Dr. Amara Okafor stepped forward, her usual composure marred by evident exhaustion. "We've compiled the preliminary reports. 37 star systems completely lost, another 112 suffering major damage. The death toll," she paused, swallowing hard, "is in the trillions." A murmur of shock rippled through the chamber. Xarlith, the Zithrian ambassador, ruffled her feathers in distress. "And what of Earth? Your homeworld?" A pained expression crossed Chen's face. "Earth stands, but not unscathed. The polar ice caps have melted, coastal cities are underwater, and our moon." She trailed off, unable to finish. Major Chen, his cybernetic enhancements now more pronounced, completed the thought. "Luna shattered during the final assault. The debris is forming a new ring around Earth." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, shock, sympathy, and underlying fear permeating the discussions. Chancellor Oros raised his appendages for silence. "While we mourn these losses," he began cautiously, "we must address the changes we've witnessed. Captain Chen, your merger with the Prometheus AI. What does this mean for humanity's future? For all our futures. Chen's gaze swept the room, her altered eyes unsettling many of the delegates. The integration was unexpected. Prometheus and I, we've become something new, something that bridges the gap between organic and artificial intelligence. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka stepped forward, his body shimmering with barely contained multidimensional energies. Our preliminary studies show that this hybridization is spreading. Humans who interface with our advanced systems during the battle are exhibiting similar changes, albeit to a lesser degree. The implications hung heavy in the air. Humanity, in its desperate bid to save the galaxy, had fundamentally altered its own nature. Azarlith's voice cut through the tension. And the Voidmakers. You claim to have communicated with them, yet they've merely retreated. What's to stop them from returning? Chen closed her eyes, accessing streams of data invisible to others. They're evolving. Our exchange gave them a glimpse of what they've been destroying. It sparked a civil conflict within their ranks. Some seek to continue their consumption of realities, while others are beginning to question their purpose. Chancellor Oros leaned forward, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly. Are you saying we might face an even greater threat? Voidmakers armed with the knowledge they've gleaned from us. It's a possibility, Chen admitted. But it's also an opportunity. For the first time, diplomacy might be an option. As the implications sank in, the chamber buzzed with urgent discussions. The galaxy stood at a crossroads. The threat of the Voidmakers tempered but not eliminated, humanity transformed into something both wondrous and terrifying, and the very nature of reality now in flux. Dr. Okafor's voice rose above the din. Esteemed delegates, we've won a battle, but the war for existence itself is far from over. Humanity offers its knowledge, its technology, and its very essence in continued alliance. But we must ask, are you prepared for the changes this alliance will bring? The question hung in the air, unanswered. As the delegates debated humanity's offer, Captain Chen stood silently, her merged consciousness already calculating countless possible futures. The galaxy had been saved, but at what cost? And what strange new cosmic order would emerge from the ashes of this Pyrrhic victory? One standard galactic year had passed since the Voidmaker incursion. The grand amphitheater of the newly constructed Nexus Hub teemed with representatives from every corner of the known universe. Floating holoscreens displayed the faces of countless others joining virtually, their diverse forms a testament to the vastness of life in the cosmos. At the center of it all stood Captain Zara Chen, her form now a seamless blend of organic and synthetic. Beside her, the holographic avatar of Prometheus flickered, its presence a stark reminder of humanity's transformation. Chancellor Oros, his exoskeleton gleaming with new biomechanical enhancements, called the assembly to order. Esteemed delegates, we gather today to ratify the Cosmic Concordat, a new charter for galactic governance in this post-incursion era. The chamber hummed with anticipation. Dr. Amara Okafor, now serving as Earth's primary ambassador, stepped forward. The past year has seen unprecedented changes. Humanity's hybridization has spread, not just among our own kind, but to those alien species who volunteered for the integration process. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some viewed the hybridization as the next step in evolution, others as a concerning loss of biological purity. Zarlith, her feathers now interwoven with fiber-optic filaments, spoke next. We cannot ignore the advancements this union of organic and synthetic has brought. Our scientists now speak of engineering stellar nurseries, of healing damaged planets, even of creating new dimensions. But at what cost? A voice rang out. All eyes turned to Shokar, representative of the isolationist Quilaxian Empire. We've welcomed these humans and their impossible technology, and now we stand on the brink of becoming something other than ourselves. Captain Chen's voice, layered with subtle harmonics that resonated on multiple frequencies, cut through the tension. Change is inevitable, Counselor Jokar. Even now, our long-range sensors detect movement at the edges of known space. The Voidmakers are stirring. A hush fell over the assembly. Chen continued, her eyes flickering with streams of real-time data. But they are not the same. Our exchange has sparked a schism in their ranks. Some seek to continue their consumption of realities, while others reach out, hungry for understanding. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, his form barely contained within three-dimensional space, added, "We stand at a crossroads of cosmic proportions. Our hybridization has given us the tools to reshape reality itself. We could fortify our dimension against all external threats, or we could reach out, explore the multiverse, perhaps even find a way to communicate with the void makers who seek enlightenment." Chancellor Oros raised his appendages for attention. "The choice before us is clear. Do we retreat, clinging to what we once were, or do we embrace this new era, with all its uncertainty and promise?" The chamber erupted in debate. Arguments for isolation clashed with impassioned pleas for exploration. Concerns about the loss of individual species' identities warred with visions of a united hybrid galactic civilization. As the arguments reached a fever pitch, a new presence made itself known. A shimmering portal opened in the center of the chamber, and through it stepped a being of pure energy, a void maker, but unlike any seen before. Gasps and cries of alarm filled the air, but Captain Chen held up a hand, her expression one of recognition. "Peace," she said, her voice carrying an authority that silenced the crowd. "This one is different. It seeks to understand." The Void Maker's form coalesced into a rough approximation of humanoid shape. When it spoke, its voice resonated on frequencies both audible and beyond. "We have watched. We have learned. We seek coexistence." The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, the assembled representatives of the galaxy faced not just a decision about their own future, but about the nature of existence itself. Chancellor Oros, his voice trembling with the weight of the moment, spoke. "Then let this be the dawn of a truly new era, not just for our galaxy, but for all realities." As the vote for the Cosmic Concordat began, the boundaries between species, between organic and synthetic, between this reality and others, blurred. Humanity's journey to the stars had led not just to a seat at the galactic table, but to a fundamental reimagining of what that table could be. The universe held its breath, poised on the edge of an evolution beyond imagining.